We'll go ahead and call to order at 5:04 this evening. And if we could go ahead and unmute for the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll see, we're a little out of practice on this virtually, but let's see how we do. All right. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America,
and
to
to
the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah. Happy birthday. Listen to everybody else, you forget the words. You're like, wait a minute.
All right. We just want to make sure everybody's managing their mute for us as we go from through the agenda. So next order of business is public comment. So as we have one option this evening, which is virtual public comment for us. So if you are interested in providing comment this evening, please raise your hand. Devin will make sure you are able to unmute. Please remember to name and address. We'll go ahead and open that up now.
So we do have one hand, Jay Tulin.
Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Okay, hello. So Jay Tulin, 39 Timberline Drive, and proudly recently reappointed to the Human Relations Commission. I had to sneak that in. I just wanted to briefly speak to and kind of clarify the correspondence that I submitted last week. Being that the effort to get universal design on board with the process, I'm very interested, obviously very interested in the interaction between the Institute for Human-Centered Design and TSKP and the entire committee. Not saying I'm not happy with it, but I guess my ask is, and I don't know if this is a crazy ask, if there could be more clarification on the interaction between TSKP and the committee and the Institute for Human-Centered Design in terms of what they're suggesting and the reception to their suggestions. So that's, I think I kind of said that, but I just felt compelled to kind of clarify what my ask is, if that's at all possible. That's really all I have to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. Anybody else? All good, Devin? Or Pat? Sounds like maybe too.
All good.
We're good.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go right into correspondence. That's agenda item D. So correspondence received 6/7 through 6/13. We did have two pieces of correspondence. Jay, as he just mentioned, provided some additional clarification for us, which was great. Thank you, Jay, for that. And then also a question from Stephen K as well. So always a reminder to make sure you review those pieces of correspondence included in the agenda. But I also take the opportunity to always to mention that this is a great way to correspond with us is our web form and contact form that's on our landing page. So continue to please provide those comments and questions to us, and we'll respond with a thorough and complete answer to you as far as additional information. So great opportunity just to stay in touch with us. So before we go on to item E, which is new business and kind of the core of our meeting this evening, I just want to do a quick congratulations, twofold really tonight, which is actually pretty exciting. So first, I want to make sure we congratulate Dr. Bowman with us this evening. So congratulations, Alicia, on receiving your doctorate. We are thrilled and so happy for you. I know that's a huge accomplishment, a lot of work and effort. So congratulations on your graduation there. And then I think as a building committee, hopefully you're willing to let me represent us in saying congratulations to our FHS class of 2022. So that was just last night. Beautiful evening for them, and great project graduation last night. Just a great event overall. So congratulations to that class, and can't believe it's summer, but really nice work on behalf of that whole entire class. Just a great group of kids. So wanted to make sure we did both of those things tonight. All right, Michael.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. That's all right. So let's move right on to new business. So our first order of business, if I get a motion to approve the following invoice package included in our agenda.
Motion.
Second. This is Wendy.
It was Chris. It was Chris. Yep.
Thank you. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, we'll go right on to kind of the main items for this evening, I think, for new business. So this is item E2. I'm going to put this motion on the table, and then we will actually go ahead and Mark, you want me to do 2 and 3 at the same time or separately?
So the scope letter release Gerber, what's 3? Is 3 the, I'm sorry, I don't have the agenda in front of me.
It's the GMP.
Yeah, the GMP. We can do them together. I think that's fine.
Okay. Are you okay with Kat, if I combine them?
Yep, that works.
Okay. All right. So can I get a motion to approve the scope award letter to release Gerber Construction Inc. for a bid package 1.01 site work enabling phase in the amount of $1,815,000 and to accept a guaranteed maximum price of $2,105,054 for phase 1 enabling.
Motion. It's Chris.
Second.
All right, I'm going to open this up for discussion. Mark, if you kind of want to walk us through where we left off last time and kind of the importance of our decision this evening, please.
Sure, happy to. So if you recall last week, we presented some numbers regarding the enabling plan and the numbers that Meg just reflected in the motions. There was a charge from the building committee to regroup and meet with the engineering department who had some questions and wanted to review some scope items related to the cost estimates that were produced by O&G and the numbers that were reviewed coming in. So we did in fact hold that meeting Friday of just this last week following the building committee meeting. And it was a good conversation. We went line by line, looked at all of the items in the estimate. We looked at O&G's estimates. We looked at what the engineering department had come up with, and we identified where some of the discrepancies were. And then we had some good conversation around identifying some scope items that we could consider as scope reduction planning. And so when we did that, we took those items back from that meeting to O&G. We identified a few items there, and O&G has worked with Gerber to get some cost reductions or potential deduct change orders following the approval of these motions tonight. What would happen is once approved, O&G would release Gerber, and in Gerber's contract, we would identify a handful of these deduct change orders. You heard us talk about temp fence last time. We've had some more developments there. And some other developments within the temporary parking lot that we all agree do not impact the design intent and do not impact any safety, security, or any quality of scope. And so we all feel good about the direction we're heading here. We anticipate some good savings coming back in the form of deduct change orders. But are asking the building committee tonight to move forward now that we've had our discussions and our reconciliation with the engineering department.
All right, I want to open this up for the building committee and others to ask any points of clarification. So that was kind of where we had left it last time in our meeting. Was we kind of understood how we were managing this within our overall project budget. We did understand the scope of work. We went through, if you remember, we had a really nice overview by Mark and by Laurel, actually walked us through the GMP and gave us a lot more detail around that. But we left, if you remember, with the final step, as Mark mentioned, about making sure that we had a really good understanding with our engineering department and some of our key stakeholders against the overall estimate and what that meant. So that was a very productive meeting, ended in a great place. We had some opportunity to move forward, but nothing that is going to affect the motion that we have on the table right now. So another recap, just want to make sure that people have an opportunity to ask further questions for clarification or anything else in addition before we actually vote.
Hey, Mike, this is Suraj. I missed the last one or two because of the vacation. Just a quick question. Do we have any service levels in terms of time frame where the work should be completed, which is tied to the fees, or is it just the work but with no time bound activity? How is it structured?
Laurel, you want to take that? Or
yeah,
Mark,
Laurel,
you
you
want
want
to?
Yeah, there's definitely a time. It's in the GMP. I believe I have an end date in there as far as when construction will be done. And I don't even have a hard copy with me, but it's definitely in the GMP. It's fixed with an end date because this is a short phase.
Right, so the scope of work is to start July 11th
Yeah.
and carry for 6 weeks, I believe it is, something to that effect. But in mid-August is about the time frame when we need to wrap up prior to the return of students for the 2022-2023 school year.
Are there any penalties for not meeting the date, or how is it structured? I know the expectation is 6 weeks, but in case if by fault of the vendor they don't do it, what's the
Yeah, there's no liquidated damages in this particular enabling plan. GMP, there are liquidated damages identified in O&G's contract for the overall project.
So this is the smaller versions, Raj, if you remember, just for that early enabling site package work.
No, understood. Just wanted to understand.
Yep.
Question, thank you.
Like in the next phase.
Any other thoughts?
We do have language in the contract.
Yeah, and the next big one. Any other questions or thoughts? Trying to look at everybody's face. All right, perfect. So that sounds great. We know what the motion is on the table. So we will go ahead and vote. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. So the motion is approved. Anything else with that, Mark? Or you guys, that's what you needed, right, to move forward for Laurel, Mark?
Yeah, we're all set. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. So we're going to move on to item E4. And then I'm just going to have one kind of closing update and comment before we go to a motion to adjourn. Could I have a motion to cancel the June 22nd, 2022 FHS Building Committee meeting?
Motion, it's Chris.
Second, Wendy.
All right, any discussion? So this is really a timing thing for us, making sure that we have enough time now to kind of move forward on key milestone items moving forward. If you remember, we were actually considering canceling this meeting that we're having right now, but we determined that we had to have it in order to prove that motion that we just completed. So it was just kind of pushed out a little bit for us. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, motion approved. So just one quick update that I wanted to make sure this is actually extremely like kind of hot off the press for us. We had a design working route meeting just before this meeting this evening. And what I wanted to do is make sure I give the building committee an update specifically around an item that was kind of part of our conversations previously and will continue to be part of our conversations as we move into the next stage of construction document review and estimate and VE and the whole process we're going to do moving forward. But if you remember when we presented to the building committee that entire what we were referring to as a grand list of value engineering items and add alternates, it was a kind of a big Excel spreadsheet that gave us statuses on particular items so that we had a really close eye on all the decisions that have been made since the beginning of the project. There was one item on that list that was in pending status, if you remember, and it had to do with an operable wall in the gym. And this was actually brought up at the end of our meeting last week, and we said we had some more work to do and some discussion. So at the design committee meeting just before this meeting, we really did some close evaluation of the need of that operable wall, what it means to the school, how it affects programming. We did a second evaluation against the ed specs. And this is a requirement that is included in our ed specs and something that is critical for us to consider from a programming perspective. So what's going to happen with this particular item it is going to come out of pending status. So we will no longer have any item pending on our list. If you remember, it was the only one remaining, and it will move to the add alternate list for us with more information to come around that. So we do need to do some more work and analysis, and we'll have further conversation as a building committee on it. But I just wanted to make sure that everybody got a kind of an update on that, and that, you know, we had a continuation and understood the status of that item within the project and where it stands at the moment. So not any kind of, you know, final necessary decision at this point on the overall scope and understanding and cost or any of that right at the moment, but we do understand the importance of it from a requirements perspective, a ed specs perspective, and a programming perspective. So we need to make sure we move forward on that and really start understanding better what that means to the overall design of the building and how we're going to manage that moving forward. So just want to make sure I gave that update. Anybody have any questions or thoughts on that? More to come, but I want to just make sure we gave that update to everybody.
So, Meg, I just wanted to add that, you know, TSKP is now going to start working on that,
Yes.
on that design process.
All right. All right. So if there's no questions on that, we have one final item on our very quick meeting this evening. So if I could have a motion to adjourn, please.
Motion, it's Chris.
Second.
Any discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes, and we will adjourn at 5:22 this evening. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate the time.
Good night, everybody.